Our guest today is one of the governor's best appointments. He's just back from China, and he is the director of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. Our guest today served as Deputy State Treasurer for Illinois from 1993 to 1995, where he was directly responsible for all investment strategies and programs in the Treasurer's $5 billion annual investment portfolio. Our guest today is an active volunteer in public education, and he and his wife are great supporters for children with all abilities. He and his wife, Kathy, I'm probably stealing your thunder here, Jack, but his wife, Kathy, have 3 children, Emily, Michael, and Katie. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the City Club of Chicago the Director of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, Jack Lavin. Jack?
Jay, thank you very much, and I also want to thank you for that introduction about helping children of all abilities. That one of the things that I will walk away with from my time at DCEO is an initiative we call Disability Works, and it's to help people with disabilities find jobs. We have a 70% unemployment rate of people with disabilities. My wife Kathy and I, our oldest daughter Emily has Down syndrome, and any parents out here have kids with disabilities, you understand what that means. The moment the doctor comes into the office, the hospital room, and says, your child has some concerning features, and I can still feel the pit in my stomach when they said that. And parents have dreams for their children, and often parents of kids with disabilities think about those dreams right away. Other parents think about those dreams many years down the road. It took us a while, a lot of emotion-filled days to come to the conclusion that it's not about our dreams for our children. You know, we have dreams of our kids going to college, driving a car, going to the prom, and you think about those things when your child's born, when you have a child with disability. But it's not about our dreams, and this is the early lesson I had in parenthood, and the real lesson is it's about their dreams. We have to do whatever we can to help our children achieve their dreams, and so that's what I do, and that's what I'm dedicated to, both personally and professionally. And Kathy and I have worked with the National Association of Down Syndrome, and as a parent support group, co-coordinators. I've worked with the mayor on a special education task force, chairing that to help our Chicago public schools do a better job. And through this program called Disability Works, which we did with the Chicagoland Chamber. And it's very important to me. It's one of the most gratifying things I will leave this job having. But I will say, one dream every parent will have for their child, and they'll never give up on that dream, and that dream is for them to move out of the house and get a job. And so that's why I'm here today, to talk about the jobs we're creating and helping our kids move out of the house. But Jay, thank you very much for inviting me back to the City Club. It's a pleasure to be here. It's very exciting. I want to just, as Jay already introduced, my wife Kathy is here, and she told me I can't talk too long because we're leaving for our Lavin family annual family reunion vacation tomorrow. So I've got to get home and do laundry and mow the lawn and do all that. So I'll try to be quick. I also want to welcome my mom and dad who are here. Mom and dad, raise your hand. They, of course, look forward to this vacation, as we do every year. We get all the Lavin brothers and sisters and their kids together. It's a great time up in Michigan. I'd also like to quickly recognize Ray Boyer, who was with the Chicago Innovation Awards. And Ray, take a bow. They and the Sun-Times hosted Innovation Awards, and we're going to be talking about innovation today. So, and they were actually here in this room this morning with a panel on innovation. So that's the talk of the town today. And I also want to thank Commissioner Dave Hansen for his partnership and working with us in Disability Works and other workforce development programs. And finally, I want to acknowledge and thank my Chief of Staff, Christy LaFleur, and my Chief Operating Officer, Warren Ribley at DCO, for all the hard work they do. We couldn't accomplish what we do without them. Let's give them a round of applause. In fact, I only have all the DCO employees just take a quick stand and get a round of applause for all their hard work. As Jay mentioned, I just returned from a trade mission to China, and my only regret is that I've been here 3.5 years, and this is my first trade mission. So that's really my only regret. I got to go more of these trade missions. I think you can't get a true feel for what's happening around in the global economy without being there in the country and understanding it. And I want to briefly recognize two people here who were on the trade mission with me. Lance Pressel, the president of the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce Foundation. And Bob Langlois, the president of the World Trade Center, Chicago. It was a very interesting trade mission. Just a couple of brief thoughts before I get into my remarks. A lot of things hit you when you go to China. First of all, capitalism is alive and well in China. I can tell you that. There is a strong entrepreneurial spirit, and that's not going to end. That's going to be there for a long time. Everywhere you go, there's people. There's lots of people. And there's a lot of young people, and now especially in the big cities, because as we had in the early 1900s, a lot of people moving from rural areas to the urban areas. That's what's happening in China now. So they have a lot of young people, make up a young workforce. They have a lot of pollution issues. And probably the most personally gratifying thing of the China trade mission was my visit to two of the schools in China. I went to a high school and went to a primary school. My son Michael goes to the Bell School in the city of Chicago, and he's one of 20 schools that are learning Chinese, one of 20 schools in the city of Chicago. Mayor Daley has made this a big priority. So he was very excited, wanted to go on the trip. I couldn't bring him, but went and visited a primary school. We exchanged some pictures. We're going to build a sister school relationship with the Bell School and a school in China. They start learning English when they're in kindergarten. Here at the Bell School in Chicago, they're learning Chinese in kindergarten. So that was very gratifying. We also visited a high school, which was a very interesting. We exchanged with them a curriculum on Abraham Lincoln, which many people know about Abraham Lincoln in China, but don't know Illinois' connection to Abraham Lincoln. Of course, we opened it up for question and answer, and the first question they asked me was about George Bush and the war in Iraq. I didn't want to create an international incident, but I had to explain to them there's a Republican Party and a Democratic Party, and we have great respect for the president because he was elected by us, and we have elections, but I'm part of the Democratic Party, and we don't always agree with the president. So I skirted around that one, but I think they got the idea. But I think the thing and by the way, in Chinese schools, they go to school 2 hours more a day than our schools. This is the primary schools. It's 10 hours more a week of learning. They go to school more days of the year. They learn English starting in kindergarten. They're eager to learn, eager to ask questions when I came there, understand English, speak English. I would be interested to see if that happens if a Chinese official came here and how that would be. But I think that's what we're dealing with. That's the workforce of the future in China, and that's what we're going to be competing with. But I think the one thing that hit me the hardest when I was there was when I went to Shanghai. And first of all, it's a beautiful city. You come in from the airport, there's flowers everywhere, and it's just beautiful. But there's a part of Shanghai called Pudong, which is really their financial district, international financial headquarters. But Pudong is like a city. And this is the world we live in today. This is what we're competing with. An area like Pudong, which I'll call a city. It's a city the size of Chicago that has been built in less than 15 years in the middle of a rice field. It's the same size as the city of Chicago. They have 1.5 million people. They're going to soon be where we are. Think about all the financial and intellectual capital it took to build this. And this has been replicated across China many times. This is not an exception. This is happening all over China, this type of growth, and this happening in the last 15 years. And I think this is symbolic of what's happening to the global economy over the past decade. And this is what we're dealing with in this global economy. We at the state of Illinois and DCO have thought about this. And our success to date and our future success revolves around our ability to innovate in a constantly changing global economy. Today I want to focus on that global economy, my recent trip to China, and the steps Illinois must take to continuously stay ahead of the curve in an increasingly competitive and fast-moving world. But first I want to talk briefly about the success we have had to date in the Illinois economy, successes which I feel are driven by our willingness to embrace the challenges presented by the global economy. At DCEO, we have helped over 380 businesses expand or locate in Illinois, which will spur almost $5.6 billion in private investment and will create and retain thousands of jobs. Over the past 2 years, through our Illinois Entrepreneurship Network and our 17 entrepreneurship centers across the state, Governor Blagojevich has invested nearly $16 million that has helped small companies generate almost $1.2 billion in contracts and sales and secure almost $230 million in financing. We've helped 300 high-growth companies get $1.5 million of challenge grants to help them reach that next level of growth. And I want to particularly thank David Weinstein and the Chicago Entrepreneurial Center for being one of our partners and really helping us be successful at this program. We've helped increase both domestic and international tourism to record levels in Illinois, with the impact of travel spending increasing by almost 7% in the past year to $26.2 billion, and an 11.5% increase in the impact of international travel brought in nearly $1.7 billion. On top of that, overseas visitors have climbed by 39% over the past 2 years. We are now at levels higher than we were prior to 9/11. And by the way, China expects to have over 100 million outbound tourists by 2020. They spend 50% more than the Japanese tourists, and the United States is their top destination outside of Asia. This is a tremendous opportunity that we have in the state of Illinois. And one of the things we did while we were over there is meet with some travel agents that work in China and meet with some of their tourism bureaus. We exchanged our Lincoln curriculum and we translated it into Chinese, and we also are going to work with kind of a scholarship program to bring some of these travel agents over to Illinois and have them spend 3 to 6 months here and learn about everything that's happening in Illinois so we can start to capitalize on this tourism that's happening. There's a visa issue now, but that's going to work itself out, and we have this opportunity to bring tremendous tourism traction from the country of China. And by the way, a message to Tim Roby, the Los Angeles Convention and Visitors Bureau has an office in Beijing, so you may want to think about that. And we've aggressively positioned Illinois to take advantage of markets that will be leading the way to future growth. We've adopted an aggressive strategy to market Illinois as a leader in biotechnology. This past April, Chicago was host to Bio 2006, the first time the Olympics of Biotech was brought to the Midwest. It was a record-breaking event in all categories, attendance, revenue, all categories, including setting a new record for the number of international attendees, including 4 delegations from different regions of China. I want to thank Ray, who Jay mentioned, but also Dave Miller of iBio is here, and Dennis Sienko worked very closely with us to make this such a success. We proudly announced Illinois' presence to the world in this vital sector, and our leadership in this area is part of the reason Illinois was recently ranked the #1 state in the nation for biotech growth by Business Facilities magazine. And we hope to get bio to come back again in 2010 or 11. We don't see why not, because they had such a record convention here. We've also emphasized the need to expand markets for Illinois coal, which many of you don't realize. 2/3 of Illinois underneath the ground has coal. We have more BTUs of coal in Illinois than Saudi Arabia and Kuwait have of oil. It's a tremendous resource that we have. And we want to promote energy independence by supporting coal, but we need to make sure we are on the cutting edge of clean coal technology. And Illinois has been at the forefront of the nation in clean coal technology research. And we have been working for more than 3 years to bring FutureGen to Illinois, a $1 billion public-private partnership to create the world's first coal-based zero-emissions power plant. All the emissions will be sequestered underground and they become inert gases after that. This power plant also includes, as part of the FutureGen Alliance, the largest Chinese energy company and the nation of India. And why is this important? Well, China and the United States are the top producers and consumers of coal in the world. But regardless of FutureGen, there is a tremendous opportunity between Illinois and China for trade and investment in clean coal technology and alternative energy. China's 67% of their energy needs come from coal, and we are the state at the forefront of clean coal technology. There's tremendous opportunity for us to develop new relationships there. We are particularly excited on the international front. We've been thrilled with our impact to date. Illinois now ranks 4th in the nation in foreign direct investment, up 14% over the last 5 years. And our exports have increased for the 3rd consecutive year, including a nearly 19% gain in 2005, our greatest one-year increase in more than 10 years. Exports have grown by over $10 billion from 2002 to 2005, which represents a growth of 40%. Part of the reason we believe is that since taking office, this administration and DCEO have conducted a record 34 trade missions to places like China, Israel, where we have one right now, and done previous trade missions, India and South Africa. And we've held 40 foreign direct investment training seminars in the past year throughout the world. And we've hosted 5 reverse trade missions, which is a new innovation that we came up with to take our consul generals and trade representatives who are here in Chicago, take them all over the state of Illinois to find out all the assets we have in Illinois, all the great places that if a foreign company wants to open up shop, there's lots of places in Illinois with a great quality of life. And I want to take a moment to thank our trade representatives and consul generals. They are a key part of our international community. They help make Illinois a world-class city. They help us create jobs. And today we have 16 countries represented. Paul mentioned a few. I'm not going to mention them all, but maybe they can all take a stand and take a bow. They are our ambassadors to the world. And while other states have been closing their international trade offices, we not only have kept ours open, but we are analyzing an expansion of our presence in China, our presence in Israel, and are considering opening a new office in India, which would make us, if we do that, the 3rd state to open an office in that country. Our efforts in all of these areas and our investments have contributed to our state's best sustained run of job creation that we've seen in many years. Since January of 2004, Illinois has added nearly 115,000 new jobs to the economy, which is the best in the Midwest. In the past 4 months, we have gained nearly 40,000 jobs, which is our best showing in more than 6 years. We led the nation in job growth in April for the first time in more than 11 years. And our unemployment rate just dropped to the national average of 4.6% for the first time since April of 1999. And that's compared to a 6.7% unemployment rate in January of 2003 when Governor Blagojevich's administration came in. And just today it was announced that the unemployment rate in Chicagoland area dropped 2% in May, the largest drop since January of 1995. And in Site Selection Magazine, we were recently ranked, the Chicagoland area, as the top metro region for new and expanded corporate facilities in 2005, while the state ranked 3rd nationally. All of this has taken place after our economy lost nearly 250,000 jobs in the 3 years prior to this governor coming into office. In short, we feel we've had a very good run these past few years. The Illinois economy is back on track, and we are proud of our successes that we have accomplished while keeping Governor Blagojevich's pledge not to raise sales and income tax. But the threat to become complacent is always a risk that we must be mindful to avoid, particularly in Illinois, because it is so easy to take our great assets for granted. In Chicago, we have a world-class city and economic center on par with any other city on the globe. We have unparalleled transportation infrastructure. We have world-class research institutions, universities, and national laboratories, and a workforce that is second to none. Most states would fall over themselves to have these assets, and yet these assets are still not enough. We must recognize the need for aggressiveness as we try to maintain our competitive edge. We need to break out of our comfort zone and understand that constant, tireless innovation is the key to survival in this global economy. We must take the leap to the next level of innovation, a level that calls for unparalleled collaboration between public and private sectors to achieve new innovation faster, better, and cheaper. To innovate means to always be on the lookout for opportunities to change in ways that will give you a competitive edge. Our competitors around the world are doing just that, and if we aren't doing the same, we run the risk of falling behind. We understand the challenges that lie ahead and have an aggressive strategy to position Illinois for global competitiveness. I believe we are on the right path. And while a small group of vocal critics may disagree, I strongly believe their criticisms are misguided. Take a common critique, where some would have you believe that the loss of manufacturing jobs is somehow related to this administration's state fiscal policy and that these jobs are heading to other states. Those people are just plain wrong, and it shows a complete lack of understanding of Illinois' role in the global economy. In fact, new technologies, new management practices, and better educated workers, innovations across the globe, are driving worker productivity up at an astonishing rate. Consider this fact. Since 1990, production output per manufacturing employee in the United States has gone up 87%. In Illinois, our productivity has increased 97%, which is well ahead of the national average. In simple terms, that means Illinois industry is now able to produce today with 680,000 workers what it used to take 1.4 million workers to do in 1990. And this is not just happening here. It is a global phenomenon. A recent study by Professor William A. Ward, the director of the Center for International Trade at Clemson University, found that 5 out of every 6 manufacturing jobs lost by various countries around the world were not moved. They were simply eliminated because new realities of technology, productivity, and other factors rendered those jobs obsolete. And globally, the area hit hardest by this trend has been Asia. China has 15 million less manufacturing jobs today than they had 10 years ago. For critics who feel that global forces like this can somehow be tamed by minor tweaks of state fiscal policy, I will simply suggest that they aren't grasping the global forces at play here. Those critics are looking to the past for solutions when the answers lie ahead of us. The unfortunate truth is that the vast majority of those jobs will never come back. Our task is to help Illinois businesses grow in the new economy so we can keep our people working, and that's what we are doing. The new global economy presents a great opportunity to Illinois to expand and grow, and the fact that Illinois is ahead of the national average in productivity growth is a very good sign for us. It shows that we are adapting to the new reality faster than other parts of the country, and it proves that we already have an important competitive edge. And also our success in the international trade markets is a good sign for us, and the growth of trade of $10 billion, because that says our businesses are getting what it takes to take advantage of international markets. Companies that we have helped at DCO, like Winnipack Portion Packaging from South Chicago Heights, and Now Health Group in Bloomingdale, are proving it. Winnipack manufactures plastic food, beverage, and dairy containers and filling machinery. Like many innovative companies, it has implemented a new culture, one that is team-based and flexible. It implemented new quality, preventative maintenance, and lean systems. As a result, it has increased both its domestic and international sales by more than 35%. The Now Health Group manufactures and distributes natural foods and vitamins. It has changed its culture to be more flexible and dynamic, and it has developed new products. They have participated in our job training programs, but also were on a recent trade mission with us to South Africa. And as a result, It has increased market share and has increased its global sales by over 20% and overall sales by 45%. These are just two examples of businesses right here in Illinois that are making innovation and efficiency work for them. It's part of the reason that despite job losses to productivity gains, Illinois continues to move forward and create new jobs. And these examples are important because beyond the general forces of globalization, the emergence of the economies in the Far East have radically altered the world economy, especially in the way population growth is fueling economic needs. And in these changes lay opportunity for Illinois businesses to find new markets. Take India, for example. India has exploded on the scene in recent years, posting an average annual growth rate of 5.6% over the last 12 years, and last year had a growth rate of 7.7%. And despite this robust growth, they realize that it isn't nearly enough, as they are facing the emergence of almost 70 million young people who are due to enter their workforce in the next 5 years. China also faces many of these same challenges, and these governments know it's important to keep these people employed. If these people aren't employed, there's unrest. And it so happens we were there in China at Tiananmen Square on June 4th, the anniversary of the days the tanks rolled in. So they don't want that unrest. Both of these countries are innovating to survive, grow, and prosper, whether it is changing the way they do business to increase profits or making education a top priority. They are thinking outside the box and working tirelessly to find ways to keep their population employed. They approach this global competition for jobs and markets with an authentic sense of urgency. We must do the same. Public policymakers, labor, and business together for two simple reasons. First, if we don't, we risk falling behind. But second, and more importantly, if we fail to be aggressive, we could miss a golden opportunity to grow and expand the Illinois economy in these rapidly growing markets. In fact, in China, we have increased our exports 124% in the last 5 years. And in India, we've increased our exports 161% in the same time frame. Now, innovation in this context can be a very broad term. But there are really just 4 key types of innovations that have been proven to have dramatic impact on sustained growth, all of which need to be at the forefront of a strategy to take full advantage of all markets. Innovations in process, innovations in products and services, innovations in business models, and innovations in markets. And this is the most important one because this includes being innovative to get to international markets, or markets like biotechnology, or markets like energy, markets in homeland security, which are often not necessarily new technologies, but marrying different products to achieve a challenge or an obstacle in homeland security. And as I said earlier, many Illinois businesses are already embracing innovation, particularly innovation in process. That's why our productivity is so high. We've been very good at innovation in process. Take the Chrysler Group, where we worked closely with the company and its suppliers to radically update its Belvedere assembly plant that is helping to create more than 2,500 new jobs. That plant, which is its most efficient North American facility, is the very first Chrysler Group manufacturing plant to use a body shop that is comprised entirely of robotics and free of vehicle-specific heavy tooling, giving the plant the flexibility to build 4 different vehicles simultaneously with no negative impact on production. And they did this because of an unprecedented work between management and labor, the state coming in to help them make the investment there. We broke down the silos and brought collaboration of everybody working together to achieve innovation. Or a company like Prince Industries in Carroll Stream, another DCO client that is a manufacturer of screw machine products and sheet metal fabrication. When the time came for it to expand production, the company saw an opportunity to gain a foothold in one of the largest growing markets in the world. It opened a new plant in China and got that foothold. As a result, it has hired more than 60 people right here in Carroll Stream because its business has grown by over 30%. These are the opportunities that we need to see and need to take advantage of. The overall point is simple. Businesses must have a sense of urgency to innovate to survive and prosper in the new global economy. They must embrace and integrate all 4 types of innovation and do it faster, better, and cheaper than their competitors. And the 2 companies I just referenced are good examples of how we at the state are providing critical assistance to help companies innovate. In both of these cases, we helped raise the skills of their existing business workforces to allow them to implement new ideas and processes. This shows that we can help businesses innovate in many ways, but there is one thing we must do well, better than any competitor, and that is to make sure that Illinois businesses have access to the best innovation talent in the world. And so when it has come to supporting innovation, perhaps nothing we have done has been as important in preparing Illinois for the global economy as our decision to embrace the concept of lifelong learning. Because the quality of our workforce has a direct impact on our ability to stay ahead of the curve. We are supporting lifelong learning by constantly reinvesting in the skills of our current workers through our job training programs, addressing short-term shortages of skilled workers through our Critical Skills Shortage Initiative, and improving the educational preparation in K-12 education. As you know, our efforts to develop the best innovation talent in the world must start from a strong base, from pre-K through college. Despite the state budget crunch, Governor Blagojevich has made expanding preschool programs a top priority, and he enacted the first major overhaul of high school graduation standards in 21 years, requiring more math, science, and reading. On top of that, he has invested $3.8 billion in new education funding, which is more than any previous single administration. Over the past several years, we have constantly heard our partners in the business community express concern over the fact that, in Illinois, students are graduating high school without the skills to move directly into advanced manufacturing jobs. The jobs are there, the skill levels aren't. So we have also invested in expanding a project called Project Lead the Way throughout the state to encourage students to pursue careers in science, engineering, and other technology fields and get hands-on experience in designing new products and promoting innovation. We are working with the Illinois State Board of Education and a statewide manufacturing task force to use this strong foundation to rethink how we prepare students for advanced manufacturing careers, ranging from engineering to skilled frontline production. And that's not all. Education does not only occur in a classroom. Through my agency, we've invested nearly $50 million toward advancing the skills of almost 190,000 Illinois workers. And we've targeted these efforts more efficiently by investing more than $18 million through our Critical Skills Shortage Initiative and employer-based training programs by offering a full continuum of training for people unemployed, people in career transition, people moving up career pathways, or customized training for existing workers to continuously upgrade their skills. And beyond job training, the state has done many things for new and early stage startup companies through our efforts to promote technology commercialization and entrepreneurship. We have done a good job here, but this is only half the battle. To continue to grow our economy, we must not only launch new businesses, we also must be the best at helping existing mature businesses use innovation to achieve long-term sustained growth. In helping existing businesses grow, there is one critical part of our economy that deserves more attention if we hope to survive the global forces that are changing our economy. It's our mid-size, mature manufacturing companies that make up the backbone of our economy. They are the ones that need assistance in entering this new era of innovation. They are the ones that are supplying the Boeings of the world, the Fords of the world, the Chryslers of the world. If they aren't strong, those companies aren't strong. If they aren't strong, the Illinois economy goes down. But what is the next step? Simply put, the next step is for us to find new ways to work together and unlock the full potential of what Illinois has to offer through collaboration of business, labor, education, and government. Let me give you just one example. The University of Illinois is ranked the 5th best engineering school in the nation, and it's the only public university where Bill Gates and Microsoft actively recruit. This is a significant public asset, and our challenge is to find a way to use it to help our mid-sized manufacturers who cannot necessarily hire R&D staff, to help them innovate new products or meet new challenges in the global economy. And I know President Joe White and Chairman Larry Eppley are already working on this. Our vision is that a new program of innovation and collaboration that focuses on untapped opportunities and assets like these, combined with a new commitment to provide all manufacturers with the talent they need to innovate, can help make the Chicagoland area a globally recognized center for innovation and manufacturing. And it is not our vision alone. We have had great support from the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce and World Business Chicago in developing this new approach. I want to personally thank Jerry Roper and Lance Pressel at the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce, who have really helped us come up with this initiative that I'm about to talk about, and also Paula Connor at World Business Chicago. But over the coming months, this collaborative effort called Innovate Now will be led by John Edwardson, Chairman and CEO of CDW Computer, Robert Zimmer, President of the University of Chicago, Bob McIlvaine, CEO of the Royal Group, and Jim Tyree, Chairman and CEO of Mesereau Financial. And I want to give my personal thanks to Jim Tyree. He's been a great partner with our programs. He's head of the City Colleges Chairman. We've worked with him on job training. We've got a couple other initiatives we'll hopefully announce soon that we're working with him. But we also have this announcement today and his leadership working with as our co-chair. And Jim, I want to thank you very much for all the help you're doing for DCEO. Along with these four leaders and the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce and World Business Chicago and AFL-CIO, among others, we will explore new ways to unlock this hidden potential for innovation in all critical sectors of the economy, such as financial services, transportation and logistics, and manufacturing. Our first step in this effort is addressing manufacturing. And we intend to combine this unprecedented collaboration with a significant expansion of our Critical Skills Shortage Initiative program, which has already been recognized as a national model by the U.S. Department of Labor and is being replicated in other states like Indiana. And our efforts in K-12 education to improve the current supply of talent at all levels needed to promote and support innovation in manufacturing. We will identify and showcase up to 100 leading innovative manufacturing firms in the Chicagoland area to demonstrate the path to success and global leadership in manufacturing innovation. We anticipate this to be very successful and help our mature mid to large size manufacturers grow significantly and become a significant part of our future economic growth. Through this process, we hope to position companies like these for sustained success in the global economy. Let me conclude by making this final point. To be sure, exciting things are happening in Illinois, and Governor Blagojevich, DCEO, and the Illinois business community are working together to constantly move forward and lead the Illinois economy into the future. And that future certainly looks brighter. But we must always be looking for the next change we can make to keep Illinois out front. The future is global, and innovation will rule the day. We are on the path to making innovation a constant piece of the economic equation in Illinois, because innovation leads to investment, which leads to better jobs, which leads to better productivity. Ben Bernanke, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, was here last week and said there's a direct correlation between productivity and quality of life. And we're doing well here in Illinois, but we need to do more. My trip to China only reinforces what we have been doing in Illinois and gives me a sense of urgency to go to the next level. In this global economy, we need to remember that this country was founded on innovation and hard work. The world is smaller. It's changing faster. Our challenges are always there, but the basic challenge is to think globally, think innovation. And you, the opinion leaders and business leaders and community leaders, we need your help to make this part of the public policy debate. Let's continue working together, and let's never rest on our laurels. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
If anyone would ask a question, we have time for 2 questions. Make them short. Those of you who have to rush out to innovate, you understand. State your name and your question.
Director Lavin, my name is Chris Gallagher. I own a small business focused on recycling and refilling printer cartridges. The environment's been a top issue, especially in the media recently. And thanks to a grant from your agency, we've been able to expand our business from not only recycling printer cartridges, but also electronics. Since we received the grant from your agency, we've diverted, in conjunction with the citizens and the businesses of the city of Chicago, From our two little locations in Lakeview and Lincoln Park, divided 6 tons of electronic waste from our precious landfills. I don't have a question. I just wanted to thank you. You mentioned 115,000 jobs, and we've created 4, which has increased my business by 30% of our employees. I want to thank you very much. You're making a very tangible difference on small business and the environment.
Thank you very much. Very important area, electronics recycling. We're producing so many electronics these days, and we need to recycle them, so it's a great investment.
I'm Marty Gleason, a City Club member.
Now, Marty, you don't have a small business, do you? You have a big business.
I have no business. It failed because of the economy that we've been living in until '03. I have a friend who's a manufacturer in Elmhurst. Did exotic and important things on Three Gorges Dam in China. He has serious problems. Number one, they copied his products. They don't protect your patents. Number two, he ended up in the courts in China. He didn't win any item in those cases. And number three, U.S. courts are enforcing that because of treaties. And so the question is, are you and the department prepared to address these important issues if business in Illinois, and this is an Illinois business I'm talking about, are going to do business in the global economy?
Right. It's an excellent question. Clearly, it's a federal issue, but I can tell you when we were meeting with government officials in China, this issue came up about intellectual property. They are very defensive about it. They are trying to make change. Change is not happening fast, but change is happening. So it's a very good question, and there's a lot of opportunity in China, and that's part of what I'm saying. You need to take advantage of that opportunity, but it's not to say this is a country that's fairly new as far as a lot of these things go in the global economy, and whenever you go there, you need to be aware of these things and work on these things. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't be taking advantage of the opportunity that this new market presents and the tremendous amount of consumers and construction that are going on there that our businesses can take advantage of. Our number one export is machinery. And where else is more construction going on than India and China? So it's an issue that needs to be addressed. It's more of a federal issue, but we did bring the issue up when we met with Chinese officials.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my question is a little easier, perhaps, Director Lavin. I'm Morgan Carter. I'm the host of Omnibus Television in the CCN Media Group. And I want to congratulate you on kind of clearing up the egress of jobs. And until I really heard you give the statistics, I think some of us who are Illinoisans and others who are in the media believe that lie about the outgoing of jobs. So I congratulate you on that. I got a quick question. How do you determine in your collaterals the high impact businesses and also the participation loan fund opportunities, those two things? Would you address that for me,
Sure.
please? Thank you.
I think what you're asking about the high impact business, we have a designation for a high impact business. It's when a business is not in an enterprise zone, but they're creating over a certain number of jobs. I don't remember the exact number. I think it's over 500 jobs plus making a certain amount of private investment. And then you can be designated as a high-impact business. I don't know the exact numbers, but there's certain levels of job creation and investment to be designated a high-impact business. In the participation loan program, we will work with small businesses. We'll participate up to 50% in the loan that small business is getting. It's like equity to a bank because we're taking often a second position to the bank. We have tremendous participation by small businesses. The average loans are somewhere in the $150,000 range. Somewhere around 40% of the loans are to minority and women-owned businesses. So it's a very popular program with small businesses. It's been very successful, and as the economy is moving forward, we're getting even more people looking at that. And I think to address your comment on the jobs, I think part of the focus today is we're in a global economy, and we're not necessarily competing with Indiana and Ohio and Michigan and Wisconsin. I mean, we are, but the world has changed, and it's much smaller, and we're competing with countries all over the world. And I think we need to come to that conclusion, and we need to all work together and think about this change and stop being critical of each other, but trying to collaborate and work together. Instead of taking percentages and looking at past percentages and what the future is going to be, let's look at the future and forget about the past, because the past, it doesn't mean anything now. It's changed. Productivity says you can't look at past job growth percentages or growth percentage. You have to look to the future, because productivity and innovation is changing. And that's what we need to embrace in the Illinois economy to be successful. We can't look to the past. We have to look to the future. Pudong was built in 15 years, a city the size of Chicago. That's what you need to think about. Think about what that means, and it's symbolic of what's happened in the world. Where has the internet come in 10 years? I mean, think about these things and how it's made the world smaller and made competition different and made it easier to compete. That's what we need to think about, and we need to think about those things in the terms of innovation and how we will grow the economy and compete in this global economy. We don't have all the answers, but we want this to be part of the public policy debate and how we can move forward and change our thinking and the way we do things to be innovative and be successful in the global economy.